Thanks. Just in terms of the, Senator Cummins mentioned the RTB report. They weren't able to join us today, but they did provide us with a report. And their report tells us that 40% of the notices to quit roughly are in Dublin. And the next highest county is Cork at 10%. And every other county is, less than 2% or so. And I think this is really important, in addition to the points that my colleagues have pushed back to the CCMA, I think it would be really important that every local authority, no matter how big or how small the risk of homelessness is in their local authority, that the staff, Senator Wall mentioned there, that the staff respond, from a kind of a trauma-informed space, that they understand the people that they're dealing with on the other end of the phone are in a traumatic situation and are greatly unnerved. The contacts, David, that you said will be available for every local authority, I think that is really important. I know Dublin has it, and it's great because it takes a lot of uncertainty out of it, and it builds confidence for the landlords that the local authority is real, because there's a whole load of negative narrative around landlords. They're petrified to even admit to owning a property, and it allows them deal directly, and it actually allows them believe and have confidence that the local authority is serious about actually helping them to prevent their tenant becoming homeless. So it's really important that every local authority does have that. That the process is expeditious. I know from the lived experience of dealing with tenants and landlords that the fact that the process actually moves expeditiously and with a certainty and with a confidence, that is really, really important. I think that the point that was made about when a local authority goes to the department with an exceptional case, the local authorities do their due diligence. They do their due diligence. They're not going to be coming forward with spurious, the fact that we've gone through this whole debate about the moral hazard, I think it highlights not the fact that you're trying to be awkward about it, but the fact that you're thinking this through and every case is being evaluated and understood. And so it is really important that when the department is reviewing its processes, that is accepted. That it's accepted that what we're doing here, what the state is doing here, is intervening to create certainty for renters, to meet the social housing obligation that the state has to its citizens. So that is really, really important. And Marie, I want to go back though to, and I appreciate, Chair, that we're talking about the tenant in situ, but it would be, I think, remiss of us not just to talk about the other measures that are there and the other supports, like the HAP and the Homeless HAP. And the report that you provided us with said that 160 new HAP tenancies every week are being created. Can you give us a sense of the 160, like if 40% of the notices to terminate are in Dublin, what percentage roughly of these HAP tenancies are in Dublin? Is that something that you can share with us, if you know that? And then can you also reference the Homeless HAP? So what is the benefit, I suppose, for renters of the Homeless HAP? What is that doing in addition to HAP? And I suppose my question there is to the CCMA.
Thanks, Senator. I suppose I'll take all the members' points on board about a fast, efficient process. So I think I'll bring that back to the CCMA and try and have some certainty around reply dates and all that type of thing. So take that as read that will go back to my colleagues in the CCMA and we'll work on that. And obviously the responding appropriately both to the tenant and to the landlord is absolutely essential. In relation to the HAP tenancies, 74 are in Dublin. I'd also make the point that I understand that 20,000 tenancies, new tenancies, has been registered with the RTB so far this year. So there is a rental market, and it is important that we understand that there is a rental market in place. In addition to that, I suppose there's good construction happening in Dublin at the moment, about 21,000 units on site, and I expect many of those will come into the rental sector during the year as well. So that may alleviate this issue and the problem, just to give that type of certainty back to the tenants that are facing difficulty right now. On the HAP tenancies and the Homeless HAP, I might ask Mary to come in just to give the full details on that.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. On average, say in 2022, there were 106 per month homeless HAP tenancies created. Now, that is, to go to the earlier points, that is down on previous years, but it was still, it's still a significant contribution in terms of both prevention and exits from homelessness.
Okay. And then the homeless HAP, Mary, can you just differentiate what is it in addition?
So what it gives is, I suppose, once we assess that someone's at an imminent risk of homelessness, we can offer up to 50% discretion on top of, so 50% extra in terms of the amount of that's available to them. So it allows some people to look at, it's really intended to incentivise people who are at the most at risk. Either imminent or in homeless services. And we also have a place finder service which works with landlords trying to bring in properties. Most people find their own properties. Most people who come to us, and HAP figures, homeless HAP is generally divided. About 70% of the uptake of homeless HAP is actually in the form of prevention, and about 30% is exits from homelessness.
Okay. And then the place finders, the homeless HAP, the HAP place finders, that's operated by DRHE?
It's operated by DRHE across the 4 Dublin local authorities, and what they do is they try and source and work with landlords. Particularly, for example, if one of the things that in Anya's report was around the number of people who are moving from HAP into social housing tenancies over recent years, and one of the things place finders try and do is keep that tenancy available within the homeless HAP scheme and available to the next person who may require it. So that some of their work is with existing landlords, and some of it is trying to source new properties.
And do you have any idea of how many tenants exited homelessness last year?
I do, but I have to look it up.
Okay, that's fine. Maybe
to all forms, or to in terms of HAP. So in terms
to all
of
forms.
In 2022, we had 456 families exited and 504 single exits in the Dublin region Dublin region.
So 900 in the Dublin region.
Yeah, and about 34% of that was HAP for singles, and 41% of that was HAP for families, and the balance being local authority AHB.
Great. Gormagad.